Hi, welcome to Part of My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, this is Tuesday night, as you know, unless you're in another country, then it is Wednesday afternoon. So, welcome. On Tuesdays, I have decided that this is going to be our pet loss support night. So, we are going to be doing two different um, nights. Now, so Saturdays are going to be more of our fun loving pet loss videos, and then Tuesdays are going to be our pet loss grief um, shows. So it'll be a little bit lighter on Saturdays, but Tuesdays are going to be more dedicated to pet loss and grief. That way, people will have a place to go and get comfort and support. So I really thought today was a good day for um, for people to get help. I saw there was a there was a lot of people online that needed some support when I was on um, Facebook and so forth today. So I really hope that some people reach out and join. Thank you to my beautiful moderator that is on tonight helping out. I did take off the I did take off the uh, chat um, the time delays, so you will be able to respond a little bit quicker um, because I do want this to be a little bit more interactive tonight because it is a little bit heavier of a topic. So that will be a little bit easier for you to respond. Again, with this being pet loss and grief, this is going to be a safe space for people. With that being said, it's also a place for it to be a oh, thank you. I did get my hair done today, so thank you very much. Um, and oh, Patty's on. Thank you. Hello, Patty. Very nice to see you. Um, but this is a very safe place for people. So everybody, please be respectful to one another. Um, I do not, especially when it comes to this topic, I do not allow anybody to be mean to other people. I don't allow it even on good topics. It's not cool. The moderator will bang you right away. She's not she's a little bit more meaner than I am. So anyways, um, like I said, this is just a safe space for people to go. Again, pet loss and grief. Yeah, exactly. Block. Pet loss and grief is a very serious topic, and one that again is very dear to my heart. So I want a place for people to come and be able to share um, their stories. And again, I'll share my stories as well, just so that people can come and get some help. When I was online today, gosh, I saw so many losses this week, and you could just tell in the tone of the post of people. People just they just hurt, and um, they just hurt, and they pour out their hearts to strangers online. And a lot of the groups that I'm in, um, a lot of the groups that I'm in are private, and I think that people feel comfortable posting their thoughts and feelings in the private rooms, because their friends and families aren't in there. I have a pet loss support group page as well, and it's private. And a lot of the people that post in there, they will post a lot because of their friends and families aren't in there. And I think they feel more comfortable doing that because, um, hi, Dave. Um, I think they do that because I, I, I wonder if they think their families may get tired of. I think they think their families might get tired of seeing the stories, or they may think that um, maybe their families might feel odd or weird about um, the way that they're grieving. Again, society is. they have that stigma. They have that stigma of, pet loss being this odd, you know, taboo thing. Not everybody is accepting. You know, I was on, I don't know, I think it was either YouTube Shorts or TikTok or something like that, and they always have those little cute things where they say, oh, you would, shoot somebody over a dog or whatever, and they have all these little funny things, and people are like, oh, all this stuff. Well, yeah, people are serious. People, people would defend, their animals, and they're very serious about their animals, and all that. So, and I know, I mean, pretty much if you're showing up this channel, you're very serious about your animals and you love them more than anything. And, you know, heck, Rosie's over here roaming around doing something. Come up here. Come on, come on, come on. The potato's coming up right now. Here she is. Come on, come say hello. Come here. Come here. Say hello. You want to say hello? Come on, say hello. Here's Rosie. Rosie's up here. I don't know what Coco's doing under there. But Rosie's here. Come here. You want to say hi? You want to say hello? I know you got in trouble, didn't you? She got in trouble doing something. Here, say hello. Say hello. So Rosie's here now. Say hi, Rosie. But yeah, these are the, these are our babies, and we protect them with everything, right? So, we would do anything for them. Hi, Rosie. Rosie says hello to Violet too. Rosie says hello to Violet, and we hope Violet's staying warm in the Chicago area, because it's probably a little bit colder where she is compared to where we are in the Ohio area. So hello to Violet in the Chicago area. If you're watching as well, drop if you have a dog or cat, throw the emoji in the chat and where you're from. We'd love to see it, and what you have, or if you've lost any animal, throw that in there. We're going to be talking about 2 different topics tonight. We might throw in a third one if we have time. She has her sweater on. She has her. Oh, here, let me move this out a little bit. I don't know why my little chat isn't showing too well. But yeah, she has her sweater off. So we might be able to tackle 3 topics tonight, hopefully, but I've got 2 here most definitely that are really, really good. 2 just that really came on me today. Like I said, when I was on Facebook today, and just these 2 really came on my heart. That's why when I thought about doing this live tonight, I thought this is something that really would help somebody. Hopefully, if one of those people chime in tonight, or if they get a chance to hop on tonight, I think it would be really beneficial for them, or anybody that's going through this, because it's a common topic. It's one of the stages of grief when we all go through the grieving process of losing a pet. It's not unfortunately we can't avoid it. We all go through it. So it's a really, really big one. Nobody likes to talk about it, but it does happen. And unfortunately, there's different ways that we go through it, but it's the guilt phase. Guilt is a phase that really nobody likes to talk about when losing a pet, and that can come in many, many forms. If you have to go the euthanasia route, there's always the if the dog was sick, maybe should I have done it sooner? Um, it's just, did I wait too long to do it? Did I do it too soon? Um, Euthanasia comes with tons of guilt, unfortunately, and it's always euthanasia is such a touchy topic because I think that um, I think that people feel sometimes like they play God, and you know, on one hand, it's such a blessing, in my opinion, anyways. I think it's a blessing because um, that's like to me one of the biggest signs of love that we can do, especially when our animals are suffering, and um, you know that we can let them go peacefully, and especially if you know and understand the process. um, it's the biggest sign of love that we can do. But with that being said, it's also, it does not come without its set of um, major heartbreak. I don't know anybody that's gone through it without it you know breaking their heart. um, I've gone through my own, quite a few of my own, and it's there's nothing, there's nothing like that drive. uh, there's nothing like that drive uh, to the vet. uh, there's nothing like that signing of the papers. um, but probably I think probably the I think probably the hardest part is when you get in that car and you got nobody in the seat next to you. I think that's probably the hardest part. And that to me is like, I think that's when kind of the reality smacks you. And I mean, and that's just I mean, it is what it is. And your your head tells your head tells you all sorts of things, like you did the right thing, but you know your heart it just, again, I mean, everybody's, I'm sure everybody's been through it. um you know um Hello, New Zealand. Hello, New Zealand. Nice to see you. Love to Bubba as well. Yay! Thank you for joining us. Um, but yeah, so guilt is with euthanasia is definitely one of the big ones. Um, that is a big one. Another one with regards to guilt is when pets are sick or they get towards the end is, you know, should I have known? Like, should I have known sooner that there was something wrong with my dog? Should I have seen something sooner? That happens a lot with cats. Cats are weird, in the sense of when they get sick, because cats don't usually show signs of sickness. A lot they are quick with regards to. I don't know if anybody on here has cats, but like when a lot of my pet loss people with cats, all of a sudden, like, they're fine, and then boom, um, their signs just show up, and uh, many times it is way too late to save them, unfortunately. They hide their stuff really well. um, there's very few things with dogs that that they're pretty good on, dogs are pretty good with telling us, what's wrong with them, probably because, they like the attention, and they like to, drain our bank accounts and everything else. And no, just kidding, Rosie. Um, but yeah, cats are really weird with that stuff. Also like sensitive eaters, and all that. So you always got to watch what you're feeding them. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my pet loss cat people, it was like, their cats are real sensitive, and but they hide pain, they hide sickness, and then again, unfortunately, it's always like usually like a kidney thing or something, and it's like boom, um, it's yeah, unfortunately it's they're almost like too late for saving, and then you're like, you know, boom, it's not a good situation. But again, with that being said, they're like, did I miss symptoms? Was I ignoring a sign? Um, yeah, even with okay, so even with like our boxers and so forth, with a couple of them had like that cardiomyopathy and stuff, and um, that came on later in life with both of ours, and I mean, you don't know sometimes if they have heart problems until they either start passing out, and a lot of that stuff you don't know until things actually hit. um, and then you're at the vet and they tell you all sorts of things, um, and then you're on this track of problems, but and you're just googling and you know all sorts of things, but and then afterwards we're you know going back and if going back and trying to judge the decisions that we made back then, and we can't do that. We can't beat ourselves up for decisions that we made. I also had, when I was in a group, in my groups, um, I had an older lady, and God love her, she was so sweet, and um, her she was a cat lady, um, and her cat. I mean, she spent thousands of dollars on this cat, and um, I remember she had me sit one day and go through like pages upon pages of her cat medical records, and she was trying to see like if she wanted me to see like if the vet was at fault somewhere in her cat diagnostics or whatever, because she was certain that the vet did something wrong. um, and I kept explaining to her, granted, like her cat was 17 years old, it was an old cat. And granted, I kept explaining to her as well as I'm not a vet, so I couldn't really make that evaluation anyways, nor could I, I all I could do was read the documents for her, and try to explain what I could see. But you know, she was so desperately trying to find an answer to, um, you know, she wanted a different outcome than what happened. She wanted a different outcome than the demise of her cat. And, you know, it came after probably several of our pet loss meetings, and, you know, working with her and finally just telling her, you're not, even if you get the answer, it's not going to change the outcome. And it's it's not going to, the vet's not going to lose her license. It's not going to stop her business. It's all it's doing is ruining your peace in life. So you have to find a different path for your own peace, and look at all the positives. She had all those years of wonderful years with her cat. And even like I said, even going through all those documents and re-going through those with her, I'm like, you know, her cat had all these kidney issues and so forth. And going back through, and I just said, like, like, look at all these areas and so forth. I said, but for all those years you had a healthy cat, so you had beautiful years, long years, and unfortunately you had a senior cat, and that's what's going to happen to us all in the long run when we get old. And One day we're going to get old and things are going to shut down and, we're going to be, you know, kicking the bucket, right? So to speak. But, she kind of had to come to the conclusion that no matter what, the outcome was going to be the same. And whether it be the time her cat passed or 2 weeks from then, um, the outcome was going to be the same. And she could live the rest of her life wondering if it was a bad ending, or she could live the rest of her life and focus on the fact that she had all those years with the best cat that she ever had. And my thought was, rather than focus on having rather than focus on having that as looking at the best cat of your life and thinking of that crappy vet or whatever, probably wasn't even a crappy vet, I'm sure she was nice. But I mean, I would rather look at that cat and think, God, what a great cat, than that situation, right? So I'm like, just reframe it, forget that situation, and just, I just look at it differently. Just cut that whole part out and keep it as a happy situation. And yeah, that's how we all should look at it. Forget about, you don't have to look at your pet's life as just the end part. I think we forget about the whole good parts, and we have the end part ingrained in our lives, and I have these guys, and sometimes you look at the pictures and automatically you think of the ending. And I think because a lot of times the endings were not great, right? Um, you know, Cookie's ending, not the little one, her ending was good, not hers. Her her okay, yeah, her ending was very good. Her ending, not so much. But so every time I think of her ending, or every time I see her picture, unfortunately, because hers was traumatic, I think of her ending. But we need to, I guess, think of things like that. When we think of our pets, we need to think of all the good years instead of their endings, right? Um, that should be the focus of our pets' lives when it comes to grief. And you know, that probably take away a lot of the guilt part. Um, so all right, I guess that was a long way around everything, but another part of guilt is financial. Financial is another um, part of the process. Unfortunately, with vet care, um, a lot of people cannot afford vet care, or nowadays, some of the medications have to be pre-made. I know my Sammy, I had to go to a special vet, not a special vet, a special pharmacy to have some of his medications made. And had I been in not a good, you know, had I not had a good job, I probably would not have been able to afford some of those medications, but they had to be pre-made and so forth. But I mean, some of those medications were like 60 something bucks a month for his heart meds. So, but a lot of people unfortunately can't afford that stuff, and they have to make the decision. Or, I mean, some people have to, go into surgeries, and they can't afford $4,000, $5,000 a month, and they have to make the decision of, putting their pets down. Um, and that's horrible. That's a horrible decision to have to make. Yeah, I don't know, if anybody on here has ever had to make, some sort of decision like that. That's a horrible thing to have to live with. I've seen that on Facebook as well. People doing GoFundMe's and basically just pleading with people, saying, please, please help me. Granted, there's people that will step up and do it. I mean, people blessing people with money to help people. It's amazing how people will come together. to help people. And, what they do is, to be very honest about it, they pay the vets directly, which is beautiful, because then it's like, okay, yeah, that's perfect. Pay the vet directly and, help those people out. I think it's wonderful. But, a lot of times too, people, they'll just, they'll, do it. But, it just, but then there's, I hate to say it too, there's also people that will, um, they'll, they'll put their pets through tons and tons and tons of, surgeries and all sorts of things. I've known somebody to do that too, and um, you know, and God love the person. I mean, her heart was in the right place, but man, I'm like that. You know, I mean, there was no question. There was no question that she absolutely loved her dog. I mean, hell, she went out to like Colorado to save her dog, to get like the best medical treatment to save her dog. And I would say maybe that dog went through like 10 surgeries, but by the time he was done with all these surgeries, that poor little dog was like, his body was worn out. And I mean, it just, there just comes a point where you have to there comes a point where you have to do you have to figure out what is right for your dog too. Are you doing what's right for you, or are you doing what's right for your dog? Because again, by the time that little dog was through all that, I mean, he didn't, unfortunately, the cancer ended up taking him. Um, but I mean, he went that that baby went through hell. And again, I mean, her whole heart was in the right place. I mean, and she was crushed. She was crushed when he ended up passing. Um, but you kind of have to outweigh what's gonna, what's what's good for the dog, and what's good for, you know you just, and it's hard. It's hard. I'm not going to say that that's an easy decision to make. um and it's hard to make the decision on your own. um you're scared. You want to do everything that you're supposed to do. um I think a lot of times when we're faced with decisions like that, you feel like you're judged, or you feel like, it's a guilt thing, right? You feel like, am I doing enough? Am I not doing enough? Is your dog going to think you didn't do enough? There's all sorts of things, right? So, you've got all that. Um, but, um, I don't know. So I feel like I'm yapping a lot, which I am. I know I am. So any thoughts in the comments here on have any of you gone through any of that kind of guilt, when either losing a pet, or losing a pet, or with, any of your pets that have passed in the past? Oh, I've taken a drink here, sorry. I'm sorry, you've all gone silent on me because I've been talking way too much. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My See, my chat is all like my chat is all like off to the side. I can't see it for some odd reason. Um, Let me do this thing here. Um, what if I do this? Okay. Oh. Oh wow. Did you really? You sold a favorite vintage art collection? Wow. you know what though? I mean, again, you do what you have to do, right? I mean, that's, yeah, you do what you have to do. And a lot of people, I mean, I get it. I get it. And I totally get it. It's, again, it is so, people get, you get with vet bills out there. And like I said, thank God for like pet insurance now, especially like with Rosie and Coco, they both have it. Lola's, unfortunately Lola's, too old right now, so she can't get it anymore. But Rosie and Coco have it. I wish I had it with my other ones, previously, but they didn't have it back then. Um, don't fall off my couch. But I wish I had it with them. That would have been really nice. But unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, you do that. You get, just knock my pillow off. But you get to the point where you get like, what are you going to do? I mean, I'm shocked that people don't, start selling blood and everything else to do that. But yeah. Well, and here, okay, so here's another thing too that you don't think about when it comes to guilt is when people start getting to the point of healing from, their grief. Oh, exactly. Exactly. Because you know what? There is no regrets because again, I hate to say it, it's just stuff, right? When it comes to like them, I mean, to me it's like they're just like, just like people. You can't replace that. You can replace stuff all day long. You can replace stuff all day long. But these guys, it's like they're just you can't replace them. You can replace stuff all day long. And no, I would not have any regrets on that at all. I'm with you on that. I would do the same thing. There is nothing that I would not have any regrets on that at all. Does it pay for checkups and pills? Yes. Yes, certain ones. It pays for certain things. I want to say one, unfortunately, it does, shockingly enough, it doesn't pay for like spaying and neutering. Um, like here, it doesn't pay for any spaying or neutering, but like Rosie has allergies, so it'll pay for like her allergy treatments, and then it will pay for like some of her medications, and then it will not cover anything for Coco's ears, except for like if she has an ear infection, yes. But they really make a point of telling me that they'll say like because she's deaf, they'll send me a thing and say because she's deaf, she doesn't qualify for whatever. They really spell that out. Um, I don't know why, but yeah. So they won't cover any. Like I don't even know what the hell they would cover on the fact that she's deaf. But yeah, it's yeah. But they'll cover certain medications. I think they give you like 60 or 75% off. Um, but yeah, like I said, it's a pretty good deal. Like I said, especially like for Rosie um, who has allergies and so forth. But if you don't really go, you maybe go to the vet once or twice a year. She tends to go a little bit more during the summer and stuff where she gets, her yearly like shots and all that. Um, but yeah, it's, so it's worth it for her and sometimes Coco as well. Cause I get her like ear infection stuff and all that. But oh yeah, they make a point of telling me that they won't do anything for Coco because she's deaf, and I'm like, well, again, I don't know what the hell they would give her for being deaf, but whatever. So, but um, but yeah, so one of the things for guilt is also when you start getting past or getting to the point where you're healing in your grieving process, and then you kind of catch yourself and you're like, wait, it, am are you, is it a real, is it a, when you come to that fact of they're not suffering anymore and you feel relief. Um, and so you're toying with, okay, well, are you feeling guilty because they're not here anymore? Or are you feeling guilty because, um, you just have all this guilt because you're relieved? Well, it's not, you know, it's not because they're not, it's not, you're not, it's not because they're not here. It's because they're not suffering. And um, it just, it's such a, guilt is such a, I always say guilt is like the devil playing with you. Um, it's the guilt is the devil's game. It messes with you. It wants to toy with your emotions and trick you into thinking that you did the wrong thing, and um, you didn't. You didn't. It makes you feel like you're a terrible person, and you weren't. You know, you should never second guess yourself. You know, and it makes you think that like you didn't do enough. But you did. I mean, you have to come to the realization that you did everything that you could do, um, and that is, you can't turn back time. Um, yeah, you can't turn back time. Um, Very important to, yes, it is. Um, but also too, I mean, same thing with when you bring up the vets as well. If you ever have guilt about if you made the right decision on if you waited too long, if you, um, if your pet suffered, or if you have questions about, euthanasia process, if all that, ask your vet. Your vets are a wealth of information. Talk to your vet, even before processes, talk to them, ask them, even never never harbor questions like this. Ask them, do you think I waited too long? Did they suffer during this process? Even when I had, issues with my one that passed at the house, um, knowing that, knowing when they explained the process to me, um, when they explained the process to me about how, um, when the disease actually takes him, and when the disease actually takes him, and I mean they walked me through the process of what his body goes through, and if he, if he actually suffered, and and so forth, information like that is priceless, and it puts, as a pet owner and person that loved that animal more than anything, that was like priceless to me. um and I encourage everybody, and maybe when you're not, extremely in grief mode, but afterwards, if it's something that's bothering you, talk to your vet. Say like, can you just tell me, did they suffer? And I mean, be prepared, but I guarantee your vet is going to be like, you know, here's what happens. Let me give you the walkthrough. And and 9 times out of 10, you're gonna feel comfort in what they're telling you, um, because again, between the human body, between dog bodies, our bodies and their bodies are very resilient. They're very, protective of you know keeping us from pain, and that process prior to, um, death, and so forth. So, but it's very important for our mental health, for us to feel peace, um, that we know things, and are able to move on in our our grieving process to know things like that. So utilize your vets, and then again, that's why you have pet loss support groups and grief support groups, so that you can take your information and you can pass it on to other people that may be going through the same thing that you are. That's why things like this are important, because you should not be going through things like this alone. And that's why I think that things like this are important. And even though it is not a great, fun topic, it's, people need it, and they need a place to come and talk and, share things. So, oh, oh no. Why? Why did they criticize the Frenchie and the breed? Was it due to the face, or why did they do that? Why did they criticize the Frenchie and the breed? Was it due to like the expenses? Yeah, vet expenses are, yeah. I mean, vets are expensive. Yeah. What, I'll be very honest. There's a lot of um I know. Yeah, I know. You know what? Yeah, that's I know. And that's the thing. Like you said, even with, I think that's always everybody's main concern is making sure that they didn't suffer. Um oh, I she said we don't need any of these. I bet it was. Any see, it's hard, right? It's hard when you get mixed opinions. It's hard when you get mixed opinions. And you know what? And that's a time too where I'll be honest, I have two different vets. I have, and I have a vet for my boxer, and I have a vet for my Frenchies. Um, and I do that because one, the vet for my French fries, they specialize in them, and my vet for my boxer, um, it's not that they don't specialize in Frenchies. I this is gonna sound really bad. Um, the vet that I have for my boxers, or my box for Lola, the vet that I have for Lola, um, she treated all of my other dogs. She treated all these guys, right? Um, and I love her. She's great. I've had her for like 14 something years. Um, she every time I go into her office, every time I go into her office, I see the room. I see the room where I see the room where I lost Cookie. There's the room where I lost Cookie, and that's the one where I had the traumatic experience. And I don't know, I can't get past it. I'm not gonna lie. I can't get past it. And uh so I decided that after Lola goes, um, I just kind of have to. I just wanted to move vets. So, and it's nothing against her. She's a wonderful vet. She's a wonderful vet. It's very, very hard for me to go there. And I will be very honest with you. Um, uh, you know, when I lost Cookie that day, that was probably one of the hardest days of my life. And you know, that lady, that vet, I mean, God love her. God love her. She saw me at probably one of my worst moments. And I mean, not angry wise, but just, broken wise. And it's just hard for me to go there and Every time I see that room, all I see is that situation replaying over and over again, and then I see that dog, and it's just very very hard. Um, but yeah, it's just a very very hard thing. So um, let's see. She, oh my god, aw, she criticized you too. Oh no, oh no, oh no no. Yeah, no, that's not right. Hi Lola. Lola's down here now. Hi baby girl. Oh no no. See, and you can't have, and then that's the thing too. Sometimes then if you get to a point where your vet and you and your vet should be on the same page, even with regards to if you're going in a different direction, you guys should be on the same page as well. um even because even um hi baby, um if your vet and your vet should agree with what you're doing, or they should be partnering with you as long as it's not something like off the wall crazy, um, which I highly doubt it was. But no, you cannot hit that. But yeah, I mean, your vet and you should be partnering on whatever treatment you choose. I mean, that's you know, they should be supporting you in whatever you choose. Um, yeah, no, I mean, like I said, that's that's oh, no, that's wrong. They should have been partnering with you. But I would have switched vets. That's not right. That's totally not right. That's horrible. Absolutely horrible. No, no, no. Oh, Lula. Oh, she was. Oh, well, good. So at least she apologized. Oh, yeah, that's not right. Mm-mm. Oh, sorry. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Well, guilt. The thing with is guilt is in our brain is this sorry, guilt is what is built in our brain is a sign that it's something in our brain that is triggered to um what do you call it is something in our brain that it's a control thing. So when we don't, guilt is one of the control factors, right? So when we feel it's with with like with the whole situation. Okay, so when when our pets are going through this, and again we go through the daily life, and um, we have to make this decision and all that, and again when they're sick and we can't fix them, and then we have to make that decision and they end up um, not making it. um, we we're not in control of that anymore, and that's our brain doesn't like that. And guilt is um, one of the things in our brain that is a result of that, um, because our bodies do not like to feel out of control. We as humans like to be in control of everything, and unfortunately, we cannot control the things that we are in charge of. Which, one of the things that we are in charge of are our animals, and that's another reason why we feel like we've failed. Um, and we failed them. We failed, when they die, even though we didn't fail them. As stupid as that sounds, right? Eventually, just like everything in life, things pass away, things, Lola, what are you doing? I don't know what she's doing. Come here. She's gonna knock my computer over. That's what she's gonna do. Um, but like anything, everything is, unfortunately, everything is gonna pass away. But but not to us, right? It's gonna happen to other people, but not to us. It's gonna happen to other people, and you know, but that's not the case. The case is that it is going to happen to us, and um, we're we're a part of the process. We're a part of um, you know it's just like I said, we're responsible for these guys, and it is what it is. So when it happens, we feel like you know we did something, and even though we didn't, because again, it's just part of life. It's just part of life. So yeah, it was. Guilt is a horrible, horrible thing. Um, signs that your pet was ready to go. That's another thing. A lot of people don't realize. um, that's another thing that toys with people. Um, how do you know when your pet is ready to go? That's a huge one. Um, did you know when your pets were ready to go? Did your pets give you any signs? How did you know when your pets were ready to go? What kind of signs did they give you? Um, anybody out there? Any kind of signs when you knew that it was the end of the road for your pets? I know. Gosh, I know with my Harley. Um, oh, God love him. He had to take medications every day. Um, yeah, they sure do boss us around. Isn't that the damn truth? My God, I got one pushy one here on the couch and two more. Um, but yeah, yeah, Sweet Pea. Yeah, Sweet Pea was yeah, Sweet Pea was one that Sweet Pea kind of like isolated herself a little bit. She kind of isolated herself towards the end. Harley, he was on all these medications, and he stopped eating, like for gosh, close to 5 to 6 days, and he had to take medications. Oh God, he had to take medications, um, and he wouldn't eat or drink, and he had to take these medications in order to keep his heart going, or he'd have a heart attack. And I remember just being so mad. I was so mad. So mad at him because I couldn't. I was so mad at that dog. I mean, not I was mad at him because he he isn't that horrible? I was so mad at him because he wouldn't. I was mad at him because I loved him and I didn't want him to go into a heart attack, and but he wouldn't eat, because he was towards the end of his life, and I just remember like pleading with this dog to eat and drink so he would take his medicine. And I mean, the last thing that I wanted that dog to do was, because my son loved that dog so much. And the last thing I wanted that dog to do was to go into heart attack and, at home in front of my son. And I just remember pleading with that dog to take his medicine. Man. But yeah, with him, I don't know why that just tore me up. But like, with him, yeah, he's just, wow. Sorry about that. Yeah, that one, like, I remember like pleading with that dog, like, I even remember yelling at him. I remember yelling at him. I don't know why that totally just grabbed me. Sorry about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, um, but yeah, um, with whew, with uh, with Daisy. Um, so with Daisy, I she was one that uh, Daisy was one that she just went of old age, and I just remember I went to church, and then when I came home, she was still in her bed, and she couldn't get up, and uh, I just I when I came home, she just kind of looked at me, and um, she was ready to go. She just so I just got her in the car, and I I had to take her at that point, but um, yeah. So uh, the tire, yeah, exactly. They have that look in their eyes. Yeah, you 100%. They give you that look, and sometimes you just know. I mean, and the same thing with our sweet pea too. She just like I said, she was my best loss. I got to hold her, um, quietly in a blanket, and I just rocked her until she passed. It was a beautiful one. Yeah, like, exactly, and it's like in their eyes. Um, uh, yeah, exactly. It's like I said, you just know. You just know. They when they say that they'll tell you, that is 100% true. They will tell you. They will tell you. And and we're very lucky because, like I said, through years of doing pet loss, we're very lucky that, thank God, like, I've never had an accident. Because I mean, so many people have had accidents. Um, uh, oh wow, 20 years. Cats live a long time. Wow. What was your cat's name? Yeah, cats live a really long time. What was your cat's name? Yeah, yeah, cats live a really, really long time. Do you still have a cat, or do you just have the one dog? Or do you have more than one dog? Boy, there's been heavy topics tonight. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's amazing. Isn't it amazing? It's funny. A friend of mine. This is a friend of mine. God love her. She, she had a basset hound, and it was pretty much towards the end of its life, and one day it was just kind of there, and he was towards the end of his life, and the family was they were like, oh, it must be time, it must be time, and he was just kind of laying there. So they took the dog to the vet, and um they took the dog to the vet, and the vet's looking at it because they thought that they were gonna have to you know put the dog down, and the vet's looking at the dog, and he's like, you know what? He goes, I think he just like tweaked his neck, like like tweaked something in his neck, and he's like maneuvering the dog's neck or whatever, and he like did something and like gave him like like a muscle relaxer or whatever, and the dog perked right up. The dog had just pulled a muscle in his neck, and he was perfectly fine. And so then the dog was perfectly fine, and so I always joked with her, and of course the dog lived for like another 3 years or whatever. But I started laughing. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, that poor dog's gonna like now sleep with one eye open, worried that you guys are gonna like um be constantly like running them over to the vet. But um yeah, it just, she's like, here we're all crying, and all of a sudden the vet's like, wait a minute, I think he just, pulled a muscle in his neck. And so, but so that ended up being a pretty happy story. But let's see. Oh, oh, I was gonna say you should get him a friend. Lord knows I've got enough running around here. I know it's weird. I've never had. I don't even I don't even know what it's like to have just one dog. It's weird, right? Like I don't think I've ever just had one dog, because I had just like when I had just Daisy. I had just Daisy, and then I I was at work one day, and um somebody said somebody called me and said that uh they had their boyfriend or whatever was, I don't know, abusing a dog, and asked me if I wanted him and all this stuff. So we kind of had to. I it's I basically ended up taking Sammy. It's a long story, but anyway, so ended up taking Sammy as a puppy, and so I had those two, and then like years later, Cookie came along. I mean, so I've never really had just one dog, and then we always had Midnight, and I know it's weird. Like I've never known like just, and then after we lost them, we got Lola, and then Harley, and then, Crazy over here on the couch, and then Coco, and I don't know, like I'm a weird dog person, I guess. Um, maybe I don't, probably get that from my mother. But I mean, we never had like, you know, 55 dogs growing up either. We only had like one or two at a time. We always felt that they needed friends, like at least two, right? Oh, Rosie. So, but yeah, I think Bubba needs a friend. I think so. Probably Violet needs a friend too, I'm thinking. Because Violet's probably got two birds. So I think Violet's got two birds, but probably Violet needs a four-legged friend, I would think. So, but anyways, so yeah, it's yeah, this has been a nice heavy topic tonight. We didn't really get into our other topic. I thought we were going to be able to get into, um but like I said, I wanted to kind of reserve, I know, that's why I said the two birds. I know Violet's got she's got the two parakeets. And and I said that we've got the three dogs, but we also have, Jesus, we've got we've got three we've got we've got five parakeets. We had three parakeets, and then we added two more parakeets, um, because my son wanted two that he could actually take out of the cage and fly around or like hold and stuff, which he actually does pretty good with those. Um, but yes, we have five parakeets, and so yeah, and a grand dog. Yes, and I do have a grand dog, which there's videos on the grand dog as well. And Rosie loves the grand dog. Um, she gets along very well with Noir. She's she thinks that Rosie will put her whole head into Noir's mouth. Um, and I don't know if anybody if you look at the one video of where it's Noir's birthday. Now Noir is the large black dog. Rosie will put her whole head in her mouth. So, not realizing that that dog could probably like chomp her head right off. But Rosie does not care. Rosie will just do that, and not even, bat an eye, because she thinks that that's what she can do. So, yeah, she just does not even care, nor, yeah, doesn't even bother her. So she is just loving it. But yeah, it's just Yes, Noir says hi. But yeah, it's just been wonderful. But yeah, I am, like I said, I do want to keep like Tuesdays to pet loss. Um and then like I said, Saturdays will be more of the fun days. Wednesdays I'm going to be doing my kitchen edition. So tomorrow, because I've got to get back to doing those. I really do like doing those. And I'm going to be using the new little tongs that I have. Yay, yay tongs. So I can now not burn my fingers. Uh, that'll be exciting. So look forward to that. Um, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Well, that's the thing too. It's when you have long days, you don't like, yeah, exactly. When we work, I do the same thing. I work 10-hour days, and you just don't want them to be um, need a new. Yes, I agree. Yeah, you don't want your dogs to be alone, right? After 8-hour, 10-hour days. That's how I am too. I don't want them being alone all that time, you know. And this way they have friends, and we're brothers, sisters, whatever. That's how I feel. And they can hang out with somebody or two, like, when we go on vacation, and if we have to board them or whatever, then they have little kennel buddies, and um then they don't feel like they're alone, or they're being put up for adoption or anything weird like that. Um, because I think about that all the time, which is, you know, just I don't know, just the way I think. I never want them to feel like they're going back up for adoption, right? um, nobody ever wants that. Lola, what are you doing? Come here. Poor Lola. Lola's out walking around. Come here. She's a good girl though. Lola's a very good girl. Yes, she is. She's just very tired. So, but yeah, I'm very grateful for everybody that takes their time to sign on. And uh, like I said, we'll we'll have uh, we'll have some fun on Saturday, and do some fun things then. And like I said, we'll you know we'll have a good time then. And um, hopefully, more people will, join the pet loss stuff, and join on Saturday. And, um, you know, yes, Noir is awfully chatty tonight. So, but all right, look forward to the kitchen edition tomorrow. Lola's going to knock my camera over. Um, but anyway, but look forward to the kitchen edition tomorrow. Please tell all your friends about the channel. Please hit like, subscribe, uh, comments. Please, again, I appreciate everybody stopping by and commenting. If you don't have a friend, you have a few now. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday if you have a chance, or Sunday if you're in New Zealand. Thank you for stopping by. Give hugs to Violet and Bubba and Noir, which I'll probably see her later. So, anyways, but thank you guys very, very much. Have a good night. I'm gonna have a good night. See you later. Bye.